G'day traders, welcome to wrap up of Monday, November 14th. So I started the day with an upside bias. Over the weekends the market after the weekend the market opened with a gap to the upside, and then during the pre-market continued to head up. So there must be a reason pushing the market up, so you wanted to go with that first impression that the market had, and that was definitely on the upside. Also started the day with the gap, yesterday's clothesline above us too, which at some stage you'd think would act as a magnet. But just in the end proved to be one of those days where, you can see here the market did push down, and I think with such an upside bias, maybe I'll go through it soon, there was some opportunities on the sell side that was missed, but that's kind of trading, I guess. You've got to find that balance in the day. It's very important to stick with your overall daily bias and keep in mind other things like the gap and things like that. So definitely want to stick with the upside here, even though there was some selling opportunities. So the market did sell off to start off with, pull back. This power point here held. This quite often I'm seeing this power point holding, especially if it's going with the overall market direction. So this one's going against the market, so probably not the best one. But if we had seen it push up and then pull back, normally that first pullback's a good one to take. But nonetheless, this first pullback still worked. Market then pushed up, and at this stage here you've got to be starting to think that the gap's going to come into play. So there's a couple of opportunities to try and get on the gap, even though none of them would have really worked. It's pulled back here, and there was another failed power point up here that you can't actually see registering there, but there was an opportunity there where the market could have taken off. The market's then pulled back again. It's been held up at this area here, so it's got a double bottom there, and then it's headed back up again. So that's another indicator that that low area there is holding, and that the buyers are around and they want to take it up. And then from there we had a bit of a pullback here, and then a reload, and then push up here. And this probably here was a good opportunity to go towards the gap as well. In the end it's turned around, and from there it's never gone higher than that point. Really quite unusual, but it is the start of the week. Being midweek, it might have done it, but and in the end the sellers over the whole day were just too strong, and that's what I mean by it proved to be tough, because there were some sell opportunities. So this one here, markets come down, then pull back, and there was actually a 5-minute sell here. So normally if you didn't have such an upside bias, seeing that the fact that the markets tried to go up 3 times and failed, and then to get all this power to the downside on the 5-minute chart, this here I think was a good 5-minute sell, and from there you could have actually, it's fallen over 10 points. You can see from about the 55 down to 45, so a 10-point fall there, and then the market just kept pushing down, no real major pullbacks. Pushed through another one of these yellows, and then we got to the lunchtime period here, and it started to go sideways. So then in the afternoon, being a Monday too, typically can be one of the quieter days of the week. The market's pretty much gone sideways all through lunchtime and even towards the start of the afternoon, and there was really not a lot of opportunities to get on at any stage here. As we're getting towards later in the day, the fact that you got to consider that the buyers are around on that dailies chart. So at one stage here, if some of these power points were going to hold, really look for the market push up and get on an early power fade. In the end, the market came back and made another lower low. So it came back and broke the cash market low, so that made the opportunity to get back on the upside a little bit more difficult, as breaking those lows gives an indicator that maybe the buyers weren't going to come in today. And then just towards the end you see they did push the market up a little bit, but overall they never came in when they really were expected to, but the sellers had control of most of the day. Okay, just got the 5-minute chart up here, so 3 opportunities. So this one here, 5-minute sell, which worked, just got to its 8 ticks, I think it's got 9 ticks, and then swung around and started to cruise quite strongly up towards that gap line, which is up here. So overall this is not too bad of an area. Like, it's going for the lows and looking like it wants to make lower lows, if it was the normal market. So overall not a bad setup. However, the fact there was such an upside bias and the fact the gap was up there, one that I personally left, even though it worked. So definitely an argument there for both sides for it to either work or not take it, I suppose. With that one, and then this one here, this is the one I talked about earlier on, where all of a sudden you saw the upside fail. You can see 1, 2, 3 times it's failed to get up there, and then you can see a switch to the downside, the moving average pointing down, the predictive starting to point down. All the other markets at this stage too were pointing down, especially the Russell. It was just about making lower lows at this stage, so kind of blinded by the upside, but definitely a sell opportunity here. But I guess at the end of the day, it is a tough opportunity because you want to stick with your daily bias. But definitely a good sell there. And then the market's pushed down and made some significant lows here, and then started to pull back. And then here we got another signal here. So this one could have been taken as more of a buy. You can see the predictive's crossing down, but the moving average by this stage is crossing up. And at this stage, you've got to be thinking too, the buyers are going to come in at some stage. They were expected. So the market pushed up, looked like a pretty good area. In the end, it got to about 7 ticks and then pulled back. So this particular one would have been stopped out whichever way you took it, but probably more of a buy situation here, considering that the sellers had a real good go all day, and that at some stage the buyers are going to come in. But it pushed up, but then in the end, sellers took over again, and they pushed down for the afternoon. So just the 3 opportunities as far as the 5 minutes concerned. And that's a wrap up.